They are significant, but I also see opportunities. Opportunities to look closely at how we operate, how we can improve, and build upon our strengths and stakeholder support to secure a long-term future for our institution. There are positive signs that Southern is turning the corner, struggles of the pandemic. Our fall 2023 class includes 1,227 scholars, a 10% increase over last year. And we have 941 new transfer and readmits. As a result, our transfer population is up 14% over last year's numbers. And record 75 high schools and 88 teachers are participating in our early college program, giving these scholars a head start on their college career. Our grant enrollment for the fall continues its recent upward trend of 849 scholars, up 22% over last year's cohort. And of that number, full-time graduate enrollment is up 6%. So what that means for our full-time income? At present, we're up 1.8%. Our overall income, which includes both full-time and part-time scholars, is down slightly, less than 1% of 62 students, due to a decline in our part-time scholars. We anticipate a 3% decline in overall enrollment. However, through the hard work of the Southern community, especially our enrollment management team, a slight increase in first-year retention, we were able to come out stronger. It is also important to note that our first-year class is the most diverse in Southern's history, reflecting our mission of educational opportunity for all. 63% of our scholars are 57% are the first in their family. To attend college, 54% are Pell Grant. Given these percentages, I am particularly proud of the national recognition we have received for our efforts in transforming lives. Recently, College Net ranked Southern 25th, 3,000 institutions nationwide on the social mobility index. This index benchmarks 40 institutions on how effectively they enroll scholars from low-income backgrounds and graduate them to well-paying jobs. We were the highest-ranked institution in Connecticut. Similarly, in the latest U.S. News and World Report college rankings released last week, Southern ranked 21 out of the 21 public schools in the Northern Saturday, so that makes sense. So we ranked 21 of all the public schools in the North. One ranking that we are especially proud of is our 28th ranking in the Northeast as the best college for veterans. We are getting recognition. Great things are happening at Southern. Just over a week ago, we officially opened our new home for the School of Business. Governor Mott joined us for the ribbon cutting of the first state-constructed building to be net zero in terms of carbon footprint. It also comes at an exciting time for our business school, which recently earned its NACFD accreditation, a premier mark of quality that is held by 5% of business schools worldwide. Earlier this week, we received more excellent news. The National Science Foundation awarded Southern a $3.2 million grant, one of the largest grants received by the NSF in our history. It's a big win for Southern, and it's also a big win for our system. This award is a true alliance with Central, Eastern, and Western. Each institution had a faculty team work collaboratively on this proposal. The main goal is to aggressively recruit, retain, and graduate underrepresented scholars and still discipline from our four institutions. CSAU is stronger for our state. Enrollment, retention, persistence, and degree completion are the priorities of Southern as we launch our soon-to-be-released five-year strategic plan with a particular concentration on increasing transfer enrollment and CT state community college. We want to ensure that every one of our scholars has a sense of belonging and receives the guidance and support they need to earn our students. Our outstanding faculty, staff, and students works tirelessly to assist in this regard. For that, I am truly grateful. As a grandson of Mississippi sharecroppers, attending college of the first generation, Lowell student and being the first. I've got to earn a doctorate for 180 years. There's no debate. No debate. My mind, education is a game changer, shift the trajectory for generations to come for individuals and families. The return on investment in CSCU is vast. At 74.85% of our graduates stay in Connecticut. I am certain without the similar stats with the other institutions that make up our system. Without it, Southern Connecticut State University is an economic engine that drives transformation in our graduates' lives and communities in the state side. I thank you again for your support of our scholars, and I welcome your insight and vision as we proceed with this academic year. Be well. Thank you.
Welcome everyone to the meeting, and how can we not be up after hearing that marvelous presentation? Thank you. That was wonderful. I was here last week. It is, we're up, so impressed and thrilled for our whole system to have you here with us, and all the wonderful things we're doing on this magnificent campus. So I'm just so happy that we're upbeat and we're going to continue, we're going to move forward. So welcome to this meeting, and I would please ask the secretary to call.
Thank you. Chair Ryan. Regent Balducci. Absence is noted. Regent Bloom.
Present.
Regent Quay.
Present.
Regent James.
Present.
Regent Chapman. Regent McCarthy.
Present.
Regent Porth. Absence is noted. Regent Santiago.
Present.
Regent Santiago, you're muted.
Here. Here.
Present. I see you. No mirrors. Regent Mayor Stewart.
Here,
You're here. You're muted, but I see you.
we're not muted.
Muted.
It's you.
Regent Yang.
Here.
Our ex officios, Dr. Blitz,
Present.
Dr. Sanger
I'm here.
is, I believe, in the car on the way. Commissioner Bartolomeo, absence is noted. Commissioner Jutani, absence is noted. Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Jutani, absence is noted. Commissioner Dong, absence is noted. Commissioner Russell Tucker, absence is noted. Chief Workforce Officer Kelly Valeries.
Present.
President Paducah,
Present.
President Toro. Here. President Nunez.
Present.
Interim President Ewing Smith.
Here.
Interim President Singh.
Here.
Carr as well. And President Kolonowski.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd like to call for a motion to adopt the agenda. So moved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The amended agenda is adopted. Thank you. Again, welcome to the first board meeting of the 2023 fall semester. Thank you, President Smith, for your hospitality, for allowing us to be here, and for the work that you've done with your staff to make us feel very welcome. I do want to take this opportunity to meet two new regents who were just appointed by Governor Millant on September 8th. First is Marty Couey, who's the Vice President of Business Development at Stanley Black & Decker, where his role is to create business value opportunities by working with startups, academia, venture capital, and global corporations. He has worked with innovation communities, universities, incubators, and accelerators across the world, and is currently working on workforce development, economic development, advanced manufacturing strategies in Connecticut and the United States. And believe it or not, he has time to serve with us. Marty, would you like to make any remarks?
I'm humbled to be part of the board of regents, and I'm very eager to work hard on everyone's behalf.
Well, thank you, and we're looking forward to that as well. Thank you, Regent Way. Our second gubernatorial appointment is Ted Yang. Ted is an MIT educated engineer and a self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur who brings experience from both the profit and nonprofit worlds. He is the founder, co-founder of more than a dozen companies, including 4CT, the largest statewide COVID-19 fund in Connecticut, Social Venture Partners Connecticut, which makes highly engaged investments in local nonprofit organizations. And most recently, he has been named a special advisor to the International Panel on the Information Environment. Ted, would you like to make any remarks?
Thank you, Chair Ryan. I am also humbled and honored for the trust that the governor and everyone else has put in me, and I hope to live up to that for all of our work ahead.
Thank you for reaching in. We do look forward to the contributions you can make to our Board of Regents. So welcome. And now to our very esteemed Chancellor Chang for your comments, but I have to throw in some. I was here for the wonderful gathering to welcome this beautiful new building. And I must say, I was so impressed that our leader said what he said. Very, very articulate, very welcome, very warm, and definitely a great person to lead this organization, this institution. So, Chancellor Chang.
Thank you very much, Chair Ryan. I appreciate the very generous words. Thanks to our regents, to our Southern family, to our presidents and everyone who's tuning in online. Really thrilled to be back and in person for the fall semester. Thank you, President Smith and the Southern team again for hosting us, and thank you for the update. The work here at Southern is emblematic of the work that's happening all across the system. A lot to be proud of. First, I want to recognize again our two newest regents, Marty Quay and Ted Yang. They bring an amazing, diverse experience to our board. For the past few years, I've had the real pleasure and honor to work with both of them as industry and community leaders. You know, they understand that public higher education is critical to the workforce, but they also believe in CSCU specifically, and I think that's really important. They know that CSCU and all of our institutions are a major force in the state and that we change lives. They bring even more passion, knowledge, and integrity to a board that is already loaded with talent and commitment. So I'm really thankful to every single region on the board and our two new board regents for your service. Classes are underway. Session has been just under a month, but already there are so many great things happening. So let me recap a few of them. As mentioned already, last week was the ribbon cutting with the School of Business at Southern, and Chair Ryan, Nathan Chapman, President Smith, everyone who was there can attest to the fact that it was a well-earned, high-energy celebration. You know, I want to give props to the Dean of the Business School, Jeff Monaco, because, you know, man, if someone's going to bring that rock and roll energy, it's him. I think he did a great job of that. I think, again, it symbolizes the birth of this institution. The school is going to provide, is already providing, a modern, high-tech learning environment for tomorrow's business leaders. It's also the state's first net zero building, and it's powered by solar panels and a geothermal field, and that's a really big deal. So it's something that Southern, the entire system, and the entire state is really proud of. CT State Community College has officially opened its doors for their inaugural semester. So kudos to President Meduco, his entire team at CT State across every institution, every campus within the institution. They've done so much work for so many years now. 35,000 students are taking advantage of CT State's system-wide reach, with more than 25% of their students taking a course in more than one campus. That's a big deal. That was one of the goals, was to create that kind of flexibility to streamline processes, the opportunities that a multi-campus institution could provide. So whether it's nursing at Three Rivers or sports management at Naugatuck Valley, it's all part of the largest community college in New England, and again, doing so much for our state. Central Connecticut State University had a couple of folks visit to start off the semester. You may have heard of them. State Secretary of Education came by, had a great visit with President Toro, and talking about the campus, talking about how they can continue to support the work of the institution, but also the entire system. but it's specifically also talking about how they can help President Toro advance her work to establish Central as a Hispanic serving institution. And again, that would be a major stride forward. Thank you, President Toro, for that work. In Eastern, hundreds of students turned out for their student involvement fair with almost 100 clubs and organizations from academics, sports, cultural groups. Eastern just showing that it has countless ways for students to get involved and to make everyone on campus feel included and safe, just about at their institution. Not to mention the academic core, which was developed and approved by Eastern's faculty, is now in effect. And that serves students more comprehensively and more holistically than ever. Charter Oak is planning multiple open houses in the next few weeks for childhood education, healthcare professions, business degrees, all 100% online, really giving as much access and opportunity to Connecticut residents, all different places in their careers and in their journeys to achieve that kind of training and education. And in addition, Charter Oak is leading the system in evaluating and utilizing AI, and Regent Bloom will report later on that in the meeting. So it's part of the academic student affairs work. Last but certainly not least, at Western, they're welcoming new interim president, Dr. Manohar Singh, who started less than a month ago, but Dr. Singh has already hit the ground running. He's charged with continuing to build on changes that have taken place over the last year at Western. And he's making the rounds on campus and the community across the state, listening to people's perspectives, trying to share Western's vision and see support for all the changes that are going to come. So these are just a few examples of great things happening across the system. But it is every single one of you at our institutions and on our campuses that deserves the credit and makes all this possible. Because you're doing the real work that accumulates and makes such a huge impact. So you've heard me say this before, and I'm going to continue to say it because it's true. CSU is the primary engine of social mobility and economic impact for the state. Our students come from Connecticut, they're educated and trained in Connecticut. They will stay to live and work in Connecticut. No other institutions of higher education in our state can say that. So this is something we all should be immensely proud of. With all that, you've also heard me say these things as well. We are facing unprecedented challenges. As a system, as institutions, as an industry of higher education, our budget concerns are real. Enrollment cliff in the Northeast and across the nation is real. And all higher education in the state is at a crossroads. As CSU's leaders and stakeholders, it is our responsibility to ensure CSU's stability and sustainability so all of our institutions and campuses can be here for the long term to serve the residents of Connecticut. But we find ourselves facing an enrollment crisis and facing a budget deficit, a challenge that demands our collective wisdom and concerted efforts. I have charged each of our presidents and their leadership teams with leading their institutions boldly, intentionally, and with the goal of evolving. We have to gain efficiencies and develop even more ways of providing education and opportunity that are even more synergized and attuned to today's student needs in the 21st century. I've encouraged them to develop new enrollment tactics and strategies, which we want to support. I've made it clear that the institutions will lead these efforts while working together with system office leadership to achieve shared goals for a successful and sustainable future. So as you may know, I was charged by the board June 28th to lead an urgent and comprehensive effort to review all academic and student support programs across our system. This academic program planning process, or APP, has been focused in its first phase on data collection. Over the summer, the Office of Decision Support and Institutional Research worked closely with all 6 institutions to aggregate data related to every single academic program offered throughout the system. This is the first time our system has compiled such comprehensive data. The data is now available by institution to every faculty and staff member who wishes to have access. We are now in the second phase of the where institutional leaders are engaging in local shared governance processes to assess program success metrics and alignment with their respective missions and goals. Being the first time we've ever done this, the process has understandably been nerve-wracking. But please know that the only intent of this process is to bring all relevant constituent stakeholders to the table to have the kinds of conversations needed to make our institutions better. Any decisions or actions regarding program enhancements, adjustments, or modifications will occur at the institutional level, as they have in the past, in accordance with established local processes and applicable collective bargaining agreement requirements. We've made progress, but there is still a substantial amount of work to be done. To bolster and protect the financial health and sustainability of our institution, we must ensure the academic and programmatic efficacy of our offerings and the efficiency of our operations and services. Some might say that the financial or enrollment situation at their institution is not their responsibility. I would disagree. Students choose to attend an institution because of academic programs and services. If the programs don't meet their needs, they won't come. If student credits won't transfer seamlessly from community colleges to universities, they won't come. If services don't meet their expectations, they will leave. If they don't get good advisement, they don't have a good experience in the classroom, or don't get treated with respect and professionalism by administrators, staff, and faculty, they will leave. And the day-to-day management and allocation of our resources, whether that be reassigned time or ensuring balanced workloads, the prudent hiring of part-time staff, or simply making mindful and responsible decisions every day, it all matters. Don't get me wrong. I know we are doing these things at our campuses, at our institutions. I know it's happening. As a faculty member, as a former department chair, a longtime campus administrator, I know the work. Take it seriously, and it changes lives. But make no mistake, all of us have an impact on the experience of our students, our enrollment, and our budget. So collectively, we have to continue to push ourselves and strive to make things better for our students and for our institutions. So let's control what we can control. We will continue to raise the level of value and service for our students. The value and impact will become even more self-evident. With your help, I promise to show our stakeholders real action and data that we are up to the challenge of transformation and evolution, and that we continue to be more than worthy of the state's investment. Because the goal is not to just overcome these obstacles over the next 2 years. I've said it over and over again. This is not a 2-year biennial budget. This is a long-term sustainability issue that we have to take. The goal is to emerge stronger and more resilient than ever. So before I conclude, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to all of you here, listening, who will view this online later, our regents, our presidents, our administrators, faculty, staff. I want to thank our students. I want to thank you for choosing us, for putting your faith in us to do right by you. Because we all want the same things. We want our students to be served at the highest levels, for our conditions and facilities to be top-notch for our faculty and staff. Systems we value and strong now and far into the future. The challenges we face today are literally existential, and we only succeed in this work if we come together. I'm confident that we can collectively harness the remarkable talent, ingenuity, and leadership on every campus across our system to do what is right and good for our students and the state. So thank you for your courage, this work. Thank you for your patience. But I want to be clear, we need all of you to be co-authors of the solution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chancellor Chang, for your most meaningful and profound remarks. We do look forward to working with you at BOR to make sure we do move forward. I will now ask Pam Levine to manage the public comment portion of our meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our first presenter is Natalie Starling. She is president of the Faculty Senate here at Southern. Please move to our podium here.
Has that mic? Can you use this mic? Hello, good morning. Good morning. My name is Natalie Starling. I am the president of the Faculty Senate here at Southern Connecticut State University. Thank you for holding your meeting here with us today on Southern's campus. We welcome you to our vibrant community. Our community is a point of pride, and our top ranking recently released in the 2024 U.S. News World Report for the Regional Universities North. Submitted for the record today is the recent resolution passed by our Faculty Senate regarding the fiscal issues facing our institutions in the recently proposed academic program planning, the APP process. We all face this difficult situation together, and we desire clarity and transparency in working together. Faculty wish to understand the purpose of this exercise. The timeline and the information available have created significant challenges, not just with understanding the goal of this process, but also the current data connected with this process. As presented to the faculty, these data are equivocal. Additionally, as highlighted in the resolution, there exist multiple academic review processes. What you may not have known, and what our resolution lays out, is that faculty are constantly engaged in at least 3 layers of comprehensive academic program review. Annual reports for each academic department, extensive standards assessment and review, our STAR review process, and multiple accreditation reviews by program and institution. We wish to ensure you are aware of the fact that faculty across all 4 universities act on those reviews. We innovate, we shift resources, we even make program changes when educational priorities warrant. Questions have been raised about the redundancy of this APP process, which in light of the fiscal issues gives the impression of an approach to academic program review driven by budgetary concerns, thereby placing those concerns ahead of our academic and educational values, and thus endangering the academic integrity of our institutions. In the interest of shared governance and transparency, faculty would like the University Senate to have equal access to any and all information related to how decisions may be made in connection to the APP process, so faculty can participate and properly evaluate the validity of the information, driving decisions, and proposed metrics and results. In the interest of shared governance, we ask that the current proposed timeline be redesigned in consultation with the University Senates. The faculty would like to see greater emphasis on revenue side solutions like student enrollment, persistence, and completion, those which are emphasized by our new president. Solutions that keep education at the center of the conversation. Thank you for developing a strategy last year to advocate for increased funding from the legislature. We would welcome and would like to see collaboration with us in creating and implementing a sustained campaign of public information and legislative and gubernatorial advocacy for the educational value of our universities and the need for adequate, stable, and predictable state funding for public higher education. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Louise Williams, president of the AAUP. Please, can you have your audio?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. You ready?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Louise Williams. I'm a professor of history at Central Connecticut State University and also president of CSU AUP. I'm here to make sure that all of you know of a request CSU AUP made of Chair Joanne Ryan. She did respond to the request and asked for some time to assess it, but I just wanted to make sure that this is on the record. As I wrote to Regent Ryan, Article 18.1 of our collective bargaining agreement states that upon request of CSU AUP, the board may designate appropriate subcommittees or individuals of the board to hear matters of concern. CSU AEP's concerns are much the same as those of the faculty senates who passed resolutions with huge majorities on all 4 campuses. We are unclear about the changing budget deficit numbers. We have problems with the academic program process, and particularly the deadline of November 1st for the budget mitigation plans. In addition, CSU AUP has certain interpretations of our contract with respect to the APP that we shared with our members, and of which you should be aware. First, we believe that all faculty must be involved in any program review, not individual department chairs or representatives approved by management. Second, our contract makes it clear that anyone who assesses programs must consider bona fide academic needs and balance academic offerings. No one, neither faculty nor the board, can make decisions based solely on enrollment numbers or changing student interests, either in the short or long term. Faculty bodies should not consider program closures or changes unless university presidents invoke those contract articles that require in-depth study or investigation, and these are studies directed by faculty senates and curriculum committees. Finally, we believe the current APP review is outside the normal workload of faculty, so faculty members who agree to do it can ask for compensation. In our message to CSU faculty, AUP also made our position on budget mitigation very clear. Instead of working to cut and shrink our system, everyone, faculty and management, should focus on student needs and student success. It is student experiences, not efficiencies, that are most important. This requires all the staff and resources we have now and more. We must provide expanded opportunities for quality higher education, not diminished ones, especially for underserved populations. This will mitigate financial losses due to enrollment declines, but more important, it will contribute to the health and well-being of the state. Next week, AUP is hosting an event with our SWOF colleagues and students to finalize a positive vision of the future of the CSUs and what we will do to affect it. We will then make it public, and you may be required to respond to it. We hope you can create a subcommittee of the board so that we can discuss these matters. You hold the future of higher education in our state in your hands, and you will have to justify the decisions you make now for years to come. If you take that responsibility seriously, you will not ignore the insight of the realities on the ground and in the classroom that only faculty have. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Michael Nizhnikov. He is on the psychology faculty here at Southern. I always said that right.
You did, great job. So first, I'd like to thank the board and the chancellor for being here and listening to our concerns and questions. My name is Michael Nizhnikov, and I am the chair of the psychology department here at Southern. So I'd like to ask, is the same kind of scrutiny being used for administrative staff at the central office and universities as is being pointed toward the faculty in terms of where and how much to cut? The statistic we hear a lot is 80% of the budget is faculty costs, right? Everybody's heard that. If I remember correctly, that was not correct. It's central, it's actually only 48% was faculty paying fringe. System-wide, the math goes like this. I didn't do this math, but I did these statistics. I looked at the math, and it looks pretty right to me. The source for this, just so everybody understands what the source is open payroll and the audited financial statements from CFTU. AUP pay and fringe in the last year was 54% of tuition, fees, and state funding. Where does the rest go? In the most recent year, non-enrollment board revenue minus AUP pay and fringe amounted to $362 million. It's $362 million that is not pay and fringe. That's plenty of room to cut outside of faculty, right? Furthermore, what ratio of faculty to admin is there when taking into account the central office? So the question is, how much expenditure is there per employee in both units? Lastly, it seems like the university system is now being treated like a business. That's fine, I can understand that. I can understand the changing landscape in the country, in the state, and just universities in general. If that's the case, then let's look at this through a financial lens, through a business lens. The fact is that the faculty is providing the only deliverable in this equation, and that is the teaching of the students and the conferring of degrees. If the students are our clients, then the faculty are the ones that are providing what they're coming here for. I'm not blind to the realities of the financial situation in the CSU systems, CSCU system. But the review should be of all this, and the cuts should be made throughout, if cuts need to be made at all, quite frankly. Perhaps the central office can lobby the legislature to use some of those record-breaking reading funds to help us keep combining in a state university system, which trains the workforce of the future for Connecticut. Thank you so much for listening to our concerns.
Thank you. Our next presenter is William Lugo. He's president of the Faculty Senate at Eastern.
Everyone, as you said, I'm William Lugo, president of the University Senate. I'm also a professor of sociology and criminology at Eastern. And 2018 and 2020, I was chair of the faculty advisory committee. I'm on the board. So for those board members who were here when I was here below, I enjoy my time on the board. I don't miss the 250 agendas that you all get. So I'm fully aware of how much time we put into this and how much thought and care. So thank you for doing that. I'm here today. I'm Pasadena University Senate President. More specifically, passed a resolution on June 28th regarding the budget mitigation. The resolution isn't that resolution isn't concerning the faculty on campus. What's concerning them is how it's being implemented. This was said by Southern Senate President and Louise Williams. The academic review process for one major often takes a year. And every department knows when it's coming. We devote resources and time to make sure that it can be done. When we returned to be on contract again in late August, we were told every major has to be reviewed. Every single one at our institution. I just found out on Tuesday who the chairs of the committees of the Senate are. We don't have a committee yet to put forward the academic planning process that is being proposed. That's coming. Elections for that committee will not take place for a couple of weeks. That's just how the shared governance process works. I'm glad that you want the shared governance process to take place. We fully support that. I don't think there's anyone better who should be in charge of reviewing academic programs than the faculty who are working with that. So we understand that, we want that, we want to be a part of this. But it is impossible for this timeline by September or November 1st for us to have anything done. I hope by November 1st, our committee will be together, they will elect a chair, they will have a plan for this to take place. But if you're expecting a report to be finished on the review of every major, it can't go through the shared governance process. It's just not enough time. We want it, but we need more time. So what I'm asking for from the board is that for this to take place, to work with the Senate so that we can design a reasonable timeline so we can get you the data that you need, right? Data that's going to be reliable, data that's going to be valid, and we will always make sure that happens.
Thank you. Is Sean Grace in the audience with us? He is also on faculty here at Southern. Ready? Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks for being here today. My name is Sean Grace. I'm a professor and chairperson of the biology department here at Southern. I'm speaking to you today to encourage you to take our faculty senate president's work seriously, as well as those others who are here to speak on the academic planning program process. I've been at Southern for 19 years, and there hasn't been a single year where recruitment, retention, persistence, and graduation rates haven't been earnestly discussed between faculty and administrators. Because as those variables have add tuition dollars and thus help our budget. We've been told for 19 years that I've been here to do more with less. With all due respect to your efforts, Chancellor Chang, we're still being given less. And less from the state to run our institutions and thus increasing tuitions multiple times to make up our budget shortfalls. Increasing the cost on students who simply cannot afford it. That can play a role in our recruitment. Now, we as chairpersons and departments are mandated, this is not shared governance, to engage in the academic program planning process. Those goals are questionable at best, but we do know that could result in the removal of programs from our campus, which means our amazing students, your amazing students, and your amazing faculty will be directly and negatively impacted. So my questions, some of which were answered earlier today by President or Chancellor Chang's initial comments. It appears to me that the BOR is not the recipient of these reports, that the recipient of these reports will simply be the local administration. Please correct me. If that's the case, I'd like to know what the Chancellor's role in that process will be. And I'd also like to know, since the audience is the local administration, how much of the budget cap is expected to close through this process? Those are the questions that have yet to be answered. From where I sit as a scientist and as a chairperson of my department who works with data daily, and what we've been provided as data to write these reports, it's questionable. But it's the same exact data that the university presents to faculty every fall. There's been no past regents, past chancellors, past presidents, or administrators that have followed recruitment, retention, persistence, or graduation rates. And there is no way chairpersons and or departments in this process of contrived, mandated, non-shared governance will be doing so with these reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final public comment is from Seth Freeman, President of 4Cs.
Hello, thank you, Pam. Members of the Board of Regents, I'm happy to address you today on behalf of our 4Cs members across the state. I'm also happy to speak to you from my classroom at Capitol today. As we always do, faculty and staff challenge this board to meet the moment and do what is right. This summer, managers began the terrible and disgusting process of cutting services for our students. The cuts affected all areas: library services, IT services, tutoring services, placement testing services, disability services, ESOL services, workforce development services, and more. At my beloved Capitol, our students returned to a shuttered cafeteria. It's still closed to this day. This is nothing short of disgusting and a disgrace. I'll tell you like I told my class on the first day, we should all be ashamed that this service is not available for them. I'm not going to lie to my class and say a shuttered cafeteria is what they deserve. I'm not going to say this is the best the state of Connecticut can do. No, I'm going to tell them the truth, that we should be ashamed that this is the current state of our CSCU system. Right now, as Nantucket is cutting their part-time IT staff, meaning there'll be no more evening IT support for students. No evening IT support for students. Right now, the fitness center at Housatonic is closed because the student activities is so understaffed. Invested in a new fitness center, now it's closed. Right now, the library that has Nantucket, Housatonic, and Manchester have reduced hours, reduced services because of budget cuts. Our students and our communities who we serve are under attack. Who is directing this attack, you might ask? Governor Lamont and our state legislators clearly. Why are they attacking our students? In service of the spending cap. We came up with a new moniker for our community colleges this year. The old moniker was Students First. Unfortunately, this board rubber stamped each and every misleading and dishonest aspect of that plan. But now we have a new moniker. Now we call it Spending Cap First. Spending Cap First is the new mission of CSCU. So again, we challenge each board member today. Do you agree with sacrificing our students for the spending cap? Regents Balducci, do you agree with sacrificing our students for the spending cap? We ask all the regents today. Secretary Beckham said it's sacrifice time. Secretary Beckham said it's time to slice and dice. Equity is out the window. Equity is a thing of the past. Well, you know what our faculty and staff say. And when we get the attention of our students and our communities, we know what they'll say too. We don't say no, we say hell no. Secretary Beckham had better find someone else to sacrifice, not our students, not the community that we serve. My students here at Capitol are owed an apology. Our students deserve so much better than what they're getting right now. We will be fighting all year for our students, fighting for the resources and services they deserve. I hope this board gets on the right side of this fight for a change. And as always, we look forward to partnering with this board when you do. Thank you.
Meeting. So, is there a second?
Second.
Are there any changes or corrections?
Madam Chair, I would like to make a comment on the minutes, and in particular, with respect to the resolution for the spending plans for FY 24, and additional actions to resolve current and future budget shortfalls. As we may recall from that meeting, towards the end, it was a rather long meeting. There were two resolutions which came forward, one of which was sent from the finance. And the other was a resolution to consummate technology use, the merger of the community colleges. There were three amendments that were made to the resolution. And I engaged in an email exchange in order to clarify the question of removing the $4 million and the use of external consultants from the system study. And I think there's an improvement in the modification from the original minutes that are here. Nonetheless, two problems. One is that we do not have two copies of that resolution in our agenda, in the minutes for that meeting. We have the original resolution and the chair about this issue. But there is not a clean copy of the resolution incorporating those amendments. And that can make for confusion. That's one thing that I want to recommend be done. Either applications of minutes have been for us, or minutes of today's meeting. Second, I want to make a comment. That resolution was a very confusing and packaged resolution. We dealt with four things in the space of merely 2 minutes. One was the FY 24 approval of the budget, significant matter. Secondly was the question of the remediation measures with the amendment due to Regent Stewart for a deadline of November 1st. Thirdly was the comprehensive academic program review. Some confusion here because we've been talking about it as well. I'll come back to it. And fourthly, with the system study. In my view, there should have been 4 separate resolutions. So the people could, members of the board, or the public who were listening, would have examined each and every one of those related but separate and distinct aspects. I think, for example, had to have a vote, sufficient amount of voting member, I would have approved 2 of those. So it's important to have the FY24 budget, mediation measures, deadline November 1st, that seems to be an organizational. I certainly would have voted against the comprehensive academic program. And we've just heard the Senate presidents, I would say a few words on behalf of the Senate president at CCSU, who have been attending of a significant problem. Back to the system study, we still don't know what that is. We were supposed to get a report back from the system office and then see it in the agenda for today. So I think that, let me sort of conclude at least this part of what I have to say, which is, I think we need a true copy of, corrected copy of that resolution. I think the lessons we learned about having a resolution packaged too much, skimming too much detail coming forward and in that. This is the appropriate time for me to comment as well on the comprehensive academic program review. But I think I'm going to take this moment if you don't mind. There's somebody else who wants to speak at this point. I don't want to turn things. We've heard from the president. Heard from the Senate. The president of my Senate is unable to come today, and yes, sir, I will speak as well. The terminology in that resolution, that's why I'm bringing it up here. It does talk about programming. We've also talked here about program plan. Those are two distinct and separate things. And the good part of the confusion is the use of the term program. We have a policy. You just have to go on Google, CCSU, academic program. You'll see there is a 4-page policy. We do that on a 5 to 7 year basis for all of our programs. To call it an academic program review made for an unnecessary complication. If it's going to be an academic program plan, that also is done at the institutional level. And the question then is exactly what role does the system office and the board play with respect to that? If what is desired is coordination, I think that is an appropriate role for a board. And there are three conditions for that. One is communication, consultation. There's no communication with this resolution prior to the meeting of the Finance Committee in June. There's been no consultation, limited consultation subsequently. Without that, we're not going to get cooperation between faculty and administration, which is essential for the system to work. And it's only on the basis of cooperation that we can get the coordination, which it's needed, at least in some respects. I'm of course opposed to top-down command and control. And that's what we had from the previous board. But many faculty don't get to see the difference between this board and previous boards. So the fact that there's new leadership here and new leadership also at the level of CSC. But let me just conclude with one example. The academic program finding, review, or whatever that was specified really turned out to be kind of accounting. And I have forming two models which are distributed as part of my shared governance process at my university. One of them is doing internal used here as a CSU model, so it may well be, I'm not privy to the details of this level of administration, but it may well be that this was a directive or designation from the system office, and it evaluates the programs by the number of majors, calculating total. That would be tuition and fees, and subtracting from it the cost, which apparently is the salaries of the faculty, support staff, secretary. So, and you can get your net income or loss. That's a very limited way of doing it. And if that's going on at the other universities, seems to have gone on at my university, then that's not the way to do it. And I'll give just one example. A number of people today have mentioned that it's not just head count that counts, but it's also the question of not just recruitment, but retention, graduation. It's not just quantitative considerations, it's qualitative ones as well. It's what it is to be a university and what kinds of programs a university should have. But if you do the accounting, and I call this an academic program accounting, that's what it appears to be. I'll just talk about my own department. It's bad news if you do it just based on majors. We end up with 1.24 million loss. But if you do it based on majors, minors, general education, and interdisciplinary programs of which we are part. And you take into account also that proportion of revenues which come from students' payments to residents and so forth, as my university has also. Then goodness, we have a $1.24 million balance. I got to tell you, we have an emergency meeting of my department. The faculty on the rest of it's not. And that's not comfortable with either. It was done by majors. And we used the minors, the general education, and the interdisciplinary programs. It was done by departments. We captured majors, minors, but we don't capture interdisciplinary programs. I'll give just one example, and I'll conclude with this, using myself. I teach in three programs. Philosophy, these studies, coordinator, and the honors program, which I'm a former director. Chancellor Shea mentioned that Governor has CCSU tuition. I had a good pleasure and opportunity to meet with them and have an informal discussion along with the biggest university. And it then came to my classes. But we had an excellent discussion. Students were quite impressed. First day of class, Governor State is coming. It was a peace studies class. And we talked about the war in Ukraine. As it turned out, we had moments for students, a recent refugee from Ukraine. But when I look at the way in which the system seems to have proposed a major only county, the network didn't count. I teach on a weekly basis, 2 classes in philosophy, that's 60 students, 2 classes in peace studies, 150, and a class in the honors program, 11 graduates doing their academic thesis. If you do it by majors, peace studies is not a major, the honors program is not a major. Most of our, I don't think that's the way to do it. Bring this to your attention as a specific example. Personal, yes, but it's also different. Mistake was made. Significant mistake was made in the formulation of the resolution of which we were talking. Not only together 4 different things, not only did we not have a corrected copy of the resolution, including the amendments, but it did not analyze, properly instruct what was needed to be done. At the meeting of the finance committee, the vice president or finance director said, well, maybe it's an inventory. Well, maybe it is an inventory that you want. You're going to have to be very much clear on what it is. One, an inventory, and what I said more about how many, not just makers we have, how many students at the level of the programs, within universities that doctoral programs, and the faculty we have, full-time, part-time, there are many other considerations. So whether it's a review, finding, I don't think it's an inventory. It's got to be redone, it's got to be done. Thank you. Listen.
Thank you. The purpose of the motion was to approve the minutes from the 28th board meeting, and did have a second to that. There were no, while we appreciate your comments, there were no amendments except or specific requests. So therefore, I'm ready to call the vote. All those in favor of accepting approving the minutes from the June 28th board meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries, the June 28 minutes are approved. And for our July 28 special board meeting, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Second. Are there any changes or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries, the July 28 minutes are approved. Next, we have the approval of the consent agenda. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The consent agenda is approved. Next, we're going to call on the committee chairs for the reports. Committee Chair Ira Bloom replaces the chair of the Academic and Student Affairs Committee. Committee Chair Ira, we welcome your report of the Academic and Student Affairs Committee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The committee met on September 8th. This month, present at the meeting were Regent McCarthy, Regent James, and Professor Sasanker. There were 2 matters that the committee discussed at the September meeting. First has to do with, I'm going to report on it, has to do with generative artificial intelligence, generative AI. And the committee had a very illuminating discussion with a great presentation from the provost of the Charter Oak, Dr. David Ferreira, how generative AI is and will continue to affect higher education. I think it will affect most aspects of the work environment, no matter what work people are in. But I think one of the things that look at this, generative AI is what we call disruptive technology. It's going to change the way people do things. Just as in the 1990s, when we first had the internet, and those of you who were involved in higher education back then, and of course in my advanced age, I was already well above, it made a major impact on how higher education functions. We ultimately had policies dealing with the use of the internet. It affected obviously how students did their work. It affected how faculty and administrators did their work. I think we're in the same situation now with generative AI. This is going to have a major impact on how we will do the work. Mr. Ferreira, as I said, made a very effective presentation about the impact which we're just starting to see. And I would suggest that people who are interested might want to review the YouTube video of the ASA meeting in September. I think it'll be very helpful. A number of the CSCU and AI Summit, which Dr. Ferreira had a major hand in, dealt with some of these issues. And the question, including one of the participants was one of our former regents, Howie who's now on the Charter Oak faculty. The takeaways from all of this is generative AI will provide both opportunities and challenges. As a tool for higher education professionals, it is a way to increase effectiveness in a number of different formats and challenges. And one of the things that we often have seen is the students, because they've grown up, because they are digital natives, they've grown up in a digital environment, are usually far ahead of the older people in making use of these technologies. This is a topic that we all have to stay on top of. And I think eventually there may be policy statements or policy issues that will require court action. But I think in summary, the impact is going to be revolutionary. And we need to have ongoing conversations at all levels about this. And I went to either Regent McCarthy or Regent James went to get a conversation about this topic from the committee meeting.
No, I think you covered it, Chair, in terms of the amount of interest and the attention that will be needed to further understand collectively, with respect to the regents, our academic faculty. We have some interesting tasks ahead of us. So.
Yeah, I'd just add to that and confirm it. In reducing it to the smallest number of words possible. This was a very valuable heads up. I don't think anybody really knows what to do about it yet. But we all ought to be paying a lot more attention because undoubtedly there will be things that we have to do.
And I think this is, as I say, similar to the early days of the internet, where we didn't quite know what to do in those early days with some of it either. We learned as time went by, sometimes the hard way, about what was involved, and I think as Commissioner McCarthy says, this is probably what is going to happen with this as well.
I mean, I'll say I can remember that vividly because I was teaching at the time. And the major impact it had on everybody who was teaching was a revision of the syllabus because it fundamentally changed the way in which we discussed references, fundamentally changed in the way we discussed citations and the like. But we didn't know that at the beginning. And similarly with generative AI, and honestly, I learned the phrase generative AI at this meeting. I don't think we know what to do yet, and it'll be a while, but I give it a heads up. Let's pay attention because we will have to address something.
Thank you. The second item is a resolution that well, first I want to thank the board for approving the consent items that came from the committee. And we have one action item to bring to the board, proposed the master's program in occupational therapy. I'd like to have a motion, Madam Chair, maybe to put this on the table for discussion.
We will do that. I'm glad to call for motion to put that table in motion.
Yep.
Need a second. I'll second. Are there any changes or corrections? Hearing none, I'll call the vote.
Don't we have a discussion, Madam Chair?
Is there any discussion?
If I may, I'd just like to add a few things here. This program, which will be at Southern, is the only institution in the state to offer a program in occupational therapy. This is an important part of the health science area. Commissioner Trentani, the Connecticut Commissioner of Health Policy, in support of the program. The also consists, and includes a number of strategies. We keep the programs length to 2 years, keep what's reasonable, and to begin clinical work during the student's first year of study. This is an important program, and I would, on behalf of the committee recommended unanimously, I would urge approval of this program.
Is there any other comments?
And just make one comment, and that is that a master's degree is now entry-level degree for occupational therapy. This is something not brand new, but relatively new. So it is essential that OTs have access to. It's an entry-level requirement for both existing and upcoming OTs. So it's important.
Thank you.
And I think, Madam Chair, we have a comment from Chief Workforce Officer Valeries.
Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to make a quick comment and thank the faculty in the university for putting together the Masters of Occupational Therapy. This is an important program to meet the healthcare needs of Connecticut residents. We have an unprecedented amount of open positions in healthcare across the state of Connecticut. There's on average approximately 166 open jobs for occupational therapists. And these jobs, the entry or mid-level ranges are around $100,000 a year in wages. So these are really well-paying jobs that allow people to enter into a profession that's in high demand right now. So thank you for the work that you've done to bring this program to fruition.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? All right, now we come to immediate vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution is approved. Thank you. Do you have any other comments?
I don't think so. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Say that we should hopefully do more, all the work you're doing for us. Our audit each year, police Friday is here with us today, but there is no report. The finance committee chair is not with us today, and we brief him well on his health recovery, but there's no report today. We also have no report from the human resource committee. This committee, this month, the executive committee presents for ratification a resolution that we passed in our August 24th meeting concerning the interim appointment of two of our university presidents. Before we bring this up for discussion, I'd like to bring this item before the board as a vote to approval. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? And before we continue, I'd like to recognize the president of Western is here with us. Dr. Steen, President. Thank you for being with us. We're glad you got here. Travel, but many of us avoided.
Well, I had a foundation board meeting kind of.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Chang, do you have any comments to make or any questions? Answers, any questions that they come forward?
I'd just like to add quickly, I appreciate Dr. Singh and Dr. Smith for stepping up for the responsibility and the challenge. I think they're all position to lead their institutions through the near and long-term future. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Yes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to just echo and thank,
Can you change the microphone?
I would just like to echo, Chancellor Chang's comments and say thank you very much. I was incredibly impressed with the experiences that you both bring to these institutions, and I feel that we're very fortunate to have you in these roles. And thank you for stepping up, because we have a long journey ahead of us, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. And I just want to recognize, because this is just part of my nature to recognizing people, but I believe Paul Barron's in the audience, and we thank him for his services to support the school while in a very challenging time. Is there any other discussion? We'll come to a vote, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, for the record.
Abstentions? The resolution is adopted. Before you call for a motion to move to executive session, let me state that the board will move to executive session for the purposes of discussing collective bargaining issues and the appointment, employment, performance, evaluation, health, or dismissal of public officer or employee. No votes will be taken in executive session. Additionally, there will be no discussion, action, or votes by the board following the executive session. The only action following executive session will be declaration of adjournment by the chair. Jessica Chang, Provost Victoria, CFO Manager, and Jessica Burkett, via Lipton, via ANL, and Chris Engel, rights to join the Regents in executive session. Therefore, allow me to call for a vote to move to executive session for the purposes I have described, and to return by declaration of the chair when that expression executive session is approved. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The open public meeting has concluded. The live streaming has been stopped. Thank you.
Madam Chair, your live stream is stopped.